women athletes want to play against men, call Riley Gaines right now. Honestly, guys, it's 2025, and yet here we are. But nothing more important and nothing crazier. It's insanity. It doesn't matter what it is. It always goes back to the comfort zone of racism. It's for women. Wait, so she's devastated? I'll never understand this. I simply will not understand this. Maybe it's just because I'm old and I think sensibly in an era where we don't think sensibly. But why would a woman athlete who doesn't want to have to compete against men, doesn't want to have to dress next to men, none of it, be considered transphobic and racist? No, it's one of the most amazing things you're going to see in 2025. You know, I know there are other things that you look at and you go, oh, man, that's bigger. World Series, bigger. Opening day college basketball, bigger. But nothing more important and nothing crazier. It's insanity to me that women athletes want to play against men, and those that protest it aren't discussed. They're immediately called racist, transphobic. It's the most amazing ish I've ever seen. Call Riley Gaines right now. Honestly, guys, it's 2025, and yet here we are. Yet we're still dealing with trans athlete, absolute insanity, lunacy, whatever word you want to call it. Elizabeth Eddy, a defender on Angel City FC in the National Women's Soccer League, decided to write an op-ed in the New York Post. Very simple. She's advocating, and this seems very simple, for strict sex-based eligibility policies in her league, the NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League. All she wants to do is say, hey, it says National Women's Soccer League. Let's play against women. Why are we playing against men? So she writes an op-ed. In response, the team captain, Sarah Gordon, and Angelina Anderson held a press conference to bash their teammate. They bashed her op-ed. They labeled her transphobic and racist. What? Is everything racist? I mean, is it just everything must be racist? I got a dog over there. That's racist. He's not dark enough. What? This is utter lunacy in this world. I feel bad for these brainwashed women. It says right there in the title, National Women's Soccer League. There is a national men's team, a national men's soccer league. There's all kind of men's leagues. If you have a PP or you were born a male, you play in those leagues. There's nothing transphobic about that. There's nothing racist about that. It's just lunacy, brainwashing of little girls. And I got to tell you, it pisses me off because it's not just little girls. It's big girls. It's big boys. It's men. It's women. It's unbelievable that we're still talking about this incredible stupidity. So, girl writes an op-ed, gives her opinion, and of course, instead of debating or discussing, right, it's immediately racist, transphobic. All right, let's go through this. Here are the captains bashing their teammate Elizabeth Eddy for her op-ed. Listen to this stupidity.
We've all obviously seen the article that was written in the New York Post earlier this week, so I really want to start off by saying that that article does not speak for this team in this locker room. I've had a lot of combos with my teammates in the past few days, and they are hurt and they are harmed by the article, and also they are disgusted by some of the things that were said in the article, and it's really important for me to say that. And we don't agree with the things written for a plethora of reasons, but mostly the undertones come across as transphobic and racist as well. The article calls for genetic testing on certain players, and it has a photo of an African player as a headline, and that's very harmful. And to me, it's inherently racist because to single out this community based on them looking or being different is absolutely a problem. And as a mixed woman with a Black family, I'm devastated by the undertones of this article.
For me personally, when I think of LA and I think of Angel City, I think of a place that was founded upon inclusivity and love for all people. That's what our locker room is. That's what our staff is. That's what our fan base is. Angel City is a place for everyone. It always will be. That's how it was from the beginning. That's how it always will be, period.
Wait, so she's devastated? because a woman wants to play against women? I mean, people get devastated by the littlest things. I'm devastated. It's really important for me to speak. No, it's not. You just showed how stupid you are. Why does this woman get to decide who Angel City is? Why is it devastating to want to play against men or not to want to play against men? Why is that devastating? How is that possibly devastating? I mean, you use these words, but they don't mean anything because everybody throws them around on the littlest slight. National Women's Soccer League is for women. It is not for everyone. LeBron James cannot go play in the National Women's Soccer League. It is for women, you morons, you dumbasses, you absolute frauds. It's for women, not men. There are leagues for men. Messi cannot go play in the Women's Soccer League, dumbasses. It is not for everyone. There are guardrails on who can participate, and it's right there in the effing name, you idiots. And that's right, I'm going low like them. Now, it's amazing to me how stupid these women are. Actually, it's not anymore. Between women and men and racism and just not understanding, it says women. I cannot go play in there. It's unbelievable. And they sit up there so arrogantly, so smug, like their opinion matters so much, and how crushed they are. If you're crushed by that, you're going to have a hell of a time when you get divorced, when your husband decides you're a putz and I'm going to go cheat on you. Honest to God, if you're devastated by that, by somebody having a difference of opinion of you and being on the right side, at least according to 90% of the people in this world, and according to your own laws, the absurdity never stops with this shit. It never, ever stops. The women's soccer team, here's Clay Travis, owned by, guess who? Disney CEO Bob Iger, then promoted this as a proud moment in women's sports. A proud moment. Jesus. Does Bob Iger believe men pretending to be women and winning women's titles are heroes like his team asserts here? What's heroic about it? What is heroic? Nobody ever says what's heroic. These little girls, these dumbasses, these brainwashed punks, they sit there and they tell you and say these words, I'm devastated. It's really important that I speak. What's heroic about it? A dude that can't play against dudes is going to play against women. Tell me what's heroic about it. By the way, the racist image, this is Clay again, this is unbelievable. Used in the article was a biological man who happens to be from Africa and has been disallowed from competing in women's track because of his male biological advantage. You know, people have actually testified that there's no biological advantage. My God. This lunacy is continuing. So these girls, these little gals got up there and lied through their teeth. Of course they didn't give context because they never give context. Nobody ever gives any type of context in this. I'm just devastated. And I'm a mixed racial, biracial, and there was a picture of somebody from Africa, which means, of course, it's got to be racist. It can't be an example of somebody who's been banned. It can't be that example because we've got to twist it, which is all you got, you morons. You got nothing else. It is, let me go again. The image, the racist image, was of a biological man who happens to be from Africa who was disallowed from competing in women's track because of his biological advantage. And these idiots tried to portray it as racist. See, one thing I've learned and I've stopped doing on Twitter, I don't argue with morons anymore. It's impossible. It's impossible to argue with liars anymore. No, it's unbelievable. This is Riley Gaines. They're calling their teammates racist because she said she doesn't want to play professional soccer against men and showed a picture of a man who has been banned with the idea that, yes, other leagues are banning men because of their physical advantages, but this little girl here who wants to be a victim so bad, oh, I want to be a victim. Make me a victim. I'm Sarah. I'm from a biracial family. I have black children, and they showed a picture of an African man. Jesus. I mean, how pathetic. That's really what it is. It's pathetic. This whole thing is pathetic. But these little girls getting up there so smug, thinking they're so smart. If I'm that girl, Edie, I'm walking right in that locker room and just laughing at them. You guys are dumbasses. That's it. That's what I would do. Like, Jesus, look at you two. What's wrong with you? And if the whole team wanted to beat my ass, then I got to take an ass beat. I don't care. Here's Clay. I'll pay $10,000 to any man who identifies as, or $100,000 to any man who identifies as a woman and makes an NWSL team. It'd be transphobic for you to be rejected as a member of the team. Per We Are Angel City. Man, sorry, ladies. Get your cleats on and go sign up. Jesus. Is this amazing? This is astounding to me. It's one of the most ridiculous things you'll ever see. It doesn't matter what it is. It always goes back to the comfort zone of racism. There's not a damn thing racist using an example of an adult male with the great American penis that is not being allowed to race, and he's from Africa. There's nothing racist about that. And if that disturbs you, little gal, then you're really going to have some problems when real life problems come your way. And the other girl, it's for everybody, period. All right, well, I hope somebody takes up Clay's offer. And I hope they film the tryout or the workout. It is not for everybody. It is not. I cannot go play there. Or at least I shouldn't be able to go play there. I'm a dude. Period. Dudes should not be able to play in the National Women's Soccer League by definition. But the little girl is so smug over there. She's so smug. She's so smug saying, well, period. Really? Angelina Anderson or Sarah Gordon, whichever one you are, I don't even know and I don't really care. The level of stupidity is just awesome. It's so great. You just sit there and you go, wow, that's amazing. You two actually are smug, thinking that we're all supposed to listen to your such important words when they're the dumbest words you could possibly say, and someday you'll realize that. Yeah, maybe not. Hey, you enjoying the show? Why wouldn't you be? Only place where you're going to hear free speech. Make sure you head on over to youtube.com/@don'tatme with Dan Dakich to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you'll never miss any of our great content. And by the way, tomorrow, 6 o'clock, the chat is open, man. We're going to have questions, answers live. We'll go for a little bit. We'll go for, I don't know. It'll be fun. Every Wednesday, 6 o'clock. And if we got to fake it to make it until it becomes the most popular thing at 6 o'clock at night, then we'll fake it to make it. I'll make up my own questions. It'll be like a Dan asks Dan. Dan, how'd you get so handsome? Well, you know. Oh, we got beef. Let McShay, friend of the show, and Mel Kiper cook ESPN. Let them cook. Friend of the show, Todd McShay, blasted ESPN for refusing to let him team up again with his famous draft sidekick. Out of fear, they will realize their new staff isn't up to standards. See, what McShay is saying, and you'll see this here, is ESPN saying to him and Kiper doing a show because will see that show and go, wow, this other show that Kiper's on with Greeny and Field Yates, well, that's not good enough. And he's right. That draft show that Greeny and Field Yates do is terrible. It is. It's awful until Mel Kiper speaks. I love Mel Kiper. I'm a big fan. Here's the deal. They say that Yates doesn't challenge Kiper enough and in turn doesn't get the best out of him. Here's McShay talking and unloading on ESPN and the rest of the bums.
What has gone on with Mel and I is some petty shit. And it's been going on with Mel and I recently, ever since I started this show. They absolutely refuse to allow Mel and I to be on the air together on any platform. Why? Because they're rightfully worried that it will remind the audience of the obvious. They do not have anyone in-house that can recreate the magic that Mel and I had. Listen, Field Yates is a really nice guy, and he's really good at his job. He's actually, by all accounts, damn good at fantasy football. And he's good analyst, and he can host, and he's unbelievably versatile. But if I was asked while at ESPN to, in addition to my role as college football analyst on the sidelines of games, sideline analyst, and being the NFL draft guy, to all of a sudden become an expert in fantasy football, what would I be, right? And so while Field is really good at a lot of things he does, in order to make compelling content with Mel, you must challenge Mel. And in order to challenge Mel, you must be grounded in high-level content and sources and years of perspective. And it needs to be your full-time gig, right? And it's just not. And Field, because of it, is not any of those things. As a draft analyst, I'm saying. And we all know that. And you know who else does? ESPN. And Daniel Jeremiah is on deck. I mean, the writing's on the wall, right? I literally do not have a single thing negative to say about Daniel Jeremiah in terms of his job, what he does, how he does it, or him, more importantly, as a human being. He is like the fucking best. I love DJ, okay? The utmost respect. But those two are not going to recreate what the Mel and Todd dynamic was. And they just won't. And it took years of us being together in the relationship we had and me recognizing I got to lean into some of this crazy and I got to needle him. But if I do, I better be prepared because that son of a gun will come at me and he'll come at me with that encyclopedia that is his brain and he'll ruin me. And so that's how it all grew and developed. And it became fun, contentious at times, but fun. And it was entertaining.
There you go. All right. I mean, we got beef. And it's a very nice way of saying that the other guys suck. Mel and I are the best to ever do it. And that's the way it is. And he's right. He's not wrong. They were very entertaining together. And Mel is an encyclopedia. Here's Michael Grant. Michael Grant is such a little douchebag. I love Michael Grant. If what McShay is saying is true, stonewalling a reunion out of spite seems unnecessary and beneath ESPN. What are you talking about, dumbass? Beneath ESPN? Michael Grant has never really worked. He was given a job in Louisville, I believe, at the Courier-Journal, and then, yeah. Anyway, beneath ESPN, they have talked and lied about murders on the court at the NBA Finals, Jalen Rose. They have kept people with DUIs. Jalen Rose and another guy, I can't remember his name. He's some little sideline guy that they're trying to promote now. They have kept on slobs. They have kept on all kind of ridiculous people, including paying Stephen A. Smith and his racist nonsense $20 million a year, Michael Grant, and Ryan Clark, who's a mess. What are you talking about? There's nothing beneath ESPN. But again, Michael Grant doesn't know. My God, of course it's necessary. How is it unnecessary, Michael Grant? I don't blame ESPN in this case. They had a special thing. And if they want McShay and Kiper, they'll go hire Todd McShay back. But they don't want McShay and hire. And both are right. I think ESPN's right for what they're doing, and I think McShay is right for what he's espousing. I think he's right. I think Michael Grant's just an idiot. It doesn't have to be this way, as Kiper has a new tag team partners with Yates and Matt Miller. Matt Miller is the biggest pussy on TV. Matt Miller, when you see him in person, he looks, oh, Jesus. He's come at me for years for reasons I don't know. I honestly don't. But somehow he must have a good agent. There is no sparring with Matt Miller and Field Yates. As Kiper said, neither are any good. Matt Miller is useless with a good agent. Field Yates is nice with a good agent. But they're not a Mel Kiper or Todd McShay's level, let's be honest. My God. Whoever earned plenty of valuable airtime through the draft process. So what are you saying? What are you saying here? New tag team partners, it doesn't have to be. Of course it has to be this way because the two guys that you mentioned, Michael Grant, aren't interesting. There's nothing Matt Miller has ever said that's interesting. There's nothing Field Yates has ever said that's interesting. Ever. Miller's probably a nice guy. I have no idea why he used to come at me all the time. Who knows? But the truth of the matter is neither are interesting. McShay morphed into interesting, and McShay is right. McShay challenged Kiper. These two guys, Matt Miller is just happy to be there, and all he does is tell you his mock draft, and you all lick it up. And Field Yates, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't. That's all I don't know. All right, we got drama in Cincinnati. We always do. When teams get their ass beat and they disappoint, there's always drama. There is. There's always drama eventually, particularly when what? Say it with me in NFL football. You got diva wide receivers. You got diva wide receivers. You got a quarterback that's out. You got a problem. You just do. And you're losing. If you're winning, you got no problem. And Cincinnati had a hell of a game the other day. They couldn't tackle the Loveland kid. Next thing you know, the Bears go on and win. We'll talk to Sylvie about it. The Cincinnati Bengals locker room isn't looking like a brotherhood these days, more like a war zone after the, aforementioned loss to the Chicago Bears. The offense showed up, defense collapsed, silence from the guys who were supposed to stop the opponent, deafening. Here it is. This is Mark Harris from Outkick. Now, that's a smart guy. Amazing the difference between you read an Outkick guy and an awful announcing guy. Things are tense inside the Cincinnati Bengals locker room at the moment, and understandably so. The team has scored a combined 80 points over its last two games and lost both games. What? So the very intense finger pointing from offensive stars toward the defense is more than justified. Wait a second. They got rid of our guy, Lou Amaretto Stone Sour. They got rid of their defensive coordinator. Colts hired him. Colts are 7-2. Huh? What's going on around here? Bengals trailed 41-27 under 5 minutes, scored 2 touchdowns in less than a minute. They went up 42-41, 54 seconds. It felt like it was the Bengals' day. Then it wasn't. 37 seconds is all Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson at all. It's all it took to score was the game-winning touchdown. After, for some reason, I don't know the reason, they just simply decided not to tackle Colston Loveland in the middle of the field during his 58-yard score. I mean, you see that play and you're like, hey, wait. One of the things that I've always said is the biggest difference between college and professional football is in professional football, they get their hands on you. They tackle you. You're tackled. College, they may miss. They didn't tackle Cortland Loveland. I don't know what the hell they were doing, and it was only the biggest play of the game. You can talk about all these other plays, and you want to be smart. You do all that. Bottom line, tackle Loveland, chances are you're going to win the game. They didn't. It's amazing. All right, let's get into the beef because I like me some good old-fashioned beef. Chase Brown, the running back, Jamar Chase, the wide receiver, voiced their frustration at their lockers over a defense that has reached historically poor levels. Remember, Zach Taylor fired Louis Amaretto Stone Sour, baby, the defensive coordinator, led him to the Super Bowl. Because Zach Taylor was trying to save his job. Well, how's that working? The players' accountability for the struggles were noticeably absent. According to Bengals reporter, Mike Petraglia, he sent me a text the other day. Some Cincy players were laughing off requests from reporters. The locker room is showing its cracks. This is from the locker room. The ones to laugh or decline by saying catch you on Monday were Jordan Battle, Shamir Stewart, T.J. Slayton. Also declining were Chris Jenkins and Miles Murphy. Hey, what are you going to do? I don't know. I like Mike Petraglia. I do. Here's Jamar on if the offensive players are going to say anything to the defense. Here it is. Let's go.
I'm going to stay in my lane. I don't want no defensive player come and chew me out about what the doing.
There you go. That's good. Stay in your lane. Chase Brown, the running back, on what was running through his head going back to the locker room after they lost.
Probably the same as what was running through your head. Like what the what the
When does that emotion change to just anger, knowing how differently the season could have looked if you closed out the last 2 weeks? You felt like you
I'd be lying if I said it didn't set us back from where we wanted to be. We want to be. Our mentality was 3-0 going into this bye week, and we could have easily done it.
I like Chase Brown. I do. I had him on my fantasy team. See what I did there? I'd win all fantasy player on you. But he's right. Sometimes that's what you think. Even as a coach. What the? I mean, that's seriously that's about all you can do. I mean, you literally look around, and this isn't the first time this has happened, so it's like, what the? No, that's pretty good. Hey, by the way, it's officially Patriot Awards Week. We're excited. Excited to finally announce a few special guests joining us this Thursday right in New York City. I was supposed to say right here in New York City, but I'm not in New York City. It's the most patriotic awards show on television. Country music star Jason Aldean and his wife, Brittany Aldean, are going to join Jesse Waters. I love Jesse Waters in presenting Erica Kirk with the first ever Charlie Kirk Legacy Award. Jason Aldean will also perform live. There's just some of the many surprises we have in store for you this year, and we cannot wait. Join us for an incredible evening honoring true American patriots. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, there's still some left at foxnation.com/Patriot Awards. We hope to see you there. If you plan on tuning it in from home, watch live this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern on foxnation.com. You don't want to miss it. Hey, last night was the opener of the college basketball season. I'm going to get into it more as the season goes along, but man, oh man, freshmen are pretty good. Darren Peterson, son of Daryl Peterson, who was really good when I coached at Bowling Green. He played for Akron. Man, Darren opened it up for Kansas, terrific, but he wasn't as good as Keona Pete. K-O-A, I don't know how you say it. I say Keona, and maybe Coy, hell, I don't know. But this Pete kid, as a freshman for Arizona, dropped 30-5 against the defending champs. Now, Arizona was number 13. Florida was number 3. And it's the first time ever that a Big 12 player started his freshman year with 30 points, 5 assists. And he did it against the third-ranked team and defending champions in Las Vegas. Woo! BYU's got a terrific freshman tonight. Tonight, you're going to see Cameron Boozer, son of Carlos Boozer, the NBA star / Duke star. Hey, man, this dude is something. This dude is a 30-10 every night type player. In fact, I think the last guy, could be wrong about this, to win or lead the country in both rebounding and points was Xavier McDaniel, Wichita State, around 95. I don't know, man. This Boozer kid, Cooper Flagg, damn good. This kid might be as good, if not better. Every time I've watched him play, which is twice, I'm like, whoa. Freshman? College basketball is in a great space. You know, I coined the phrase every night, college basketball delivers, and it did last night. Hell, Hawaii Pacific went into Boise and beat them for the biggest win in the history. Bethune-Cookman, Stephen Pearl, you got out of there. Good for you, 95-90. Stephen Pearl's debut with Auburn, they sneaked past Bethune-Cookman in overtime. It's good stuff, man. And as I said, tonight you got Duke, and I'll give you a gambling tip right now. I don't know. Purdue is 32.5-point favorite against Evansville. Now, Evansville plays in a pretty good league. They've been a little bit decimated by guys going into transfer portal, making big money other places. But damn, 32.5? We can't keep it to 90-60? Let's go, Ville. Let's go. Hey, we'll be right back. Michele Tafoya, crazy things in Minnesota and across the country. Let's talk to Michele and figure this whole thing out next. You know her, you love her, you see her. Every time she's on our show, we make national news. So what the hell? Let's go ahead and do it. It's Michele Tafoya. Join her on the Michele Tafoya podcast everywhere you get her, or Michele _Tafoya. Give her a follow on Twitter. All right, I was talking about this earlier. Angel City FC players bashing their own teammate. This is one of the most ridiculous things I've heard. One of their teammates says, hey, I don't want men playing in the National Women's Soccer League. How about our boss, Clay Travis, buy a team, fill it with dudes? You think that would go over well? What are you thinking about all this?
I'm telling you, if that seems to be what it's going to take, that some team becomes predominantly male, these men who now identify as women, and just beats the crap out of every other team. That it feels like that's what it's going to take to prove this. This is insane. I mean, I'm almost getting exhausted talking about this, but the fact is, here in Minnesota, our Supreme Court voted unanimously, 7-0, that a biological man, now a trans woman, was barred from competing in USA weightlifting, and that was against his civil rights, his civil rights. So basically they've said, come on in, water's fine for every male that wants to identify as a female, and then just trounce the competition.
Can you tell me what is going through the mind? Like, one of the girls said, Angel City is for everyone, period. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not for Lionel Messi. It's not. I mean, it simply says right there, National Women's Soccer League. Mm-hmm. Do we just not pay attention to that? Is that what we don't pay attention to?
No, again, I think that there are these voices, these rare voices. I still think they're vastly in the minority. But this inclusion, right, eventually leads to exclusion. Because if you say it's for everyone, then more men will come in dressed as women or whatever, identifying as women. Then guess who gets excluded? The women for whom the league was made. So, I mean, this whole idea of inclusion, when you've got a limited roster, no, it's not for everyone, because not everyone can make that roster. But I'm pretty sure that a biological male could beat out a female for a roster spot and just laugh the whole way through.
This is a 90% to 10% issue that people just can't, like the 10% just dies on this hill.
They do.
People actually listen. They do. People listen to this 10%. It's nuts to me.
I think that people are so determined to be open-minded and fair and inclusive and virtuous, when really what you're doing is you're denying science. You're denying reality. You're denying thousands and thousands of years of empirical data that show us why we have divisions based on sex. Period. The end. Gender is another issue. This is a chromosomal issue. That's it.
God, anyway, the world keeps spinning. Did you get a chance to watch any of these games? Where are you at with the whole Disney, Google, I don't know. I've got YouTube TV, and I just said, screw it, I'll watch something else.
Yeah, we just went through the whole cutting the cord thing and are now purely streaming. And we were thinking, do we do YouTube TV? Do we do Direct TV? What do we do? So we actually have, I think we have Fubo and Direct TV to sort of counteract when these fights break out.
Yeah.
You're gonna piss off a lot of sports fans. You're gonna make people really mad, but someone's gonna find somewhere to stream these games. So I think they need to pick their battles very wisely. You're just gonna irritate people. I mean, people are already irritated with how they have to search so hard to find a game, right? And it's just we keep continuing to find, that's redundant, but we continue to find that it's really navigating all this crap is a pain in the ass. And it takes a lot of sort of, okay, we got the system. Let's set it up. Let's mark our favorites. Now we got to Google, where is this game that I want to watch? Okay, can you find it on Fubo? No. Okay, can you find it on DirecTV? And maybe I'm a boomer. I don't know. I don't really care. But it's complicated. And so these stupid TV battles, they just piss people off.
Does $5 million a day, which is being reported ESPN is losing, at what point does that start mattering, or does it already matter?
I think it always matters. I mean, follow the money. I guess you can afford it. This is why people settle out of court, right? Because it's cheaper to pay someone off than to go the distance. So I guess maybe in the interim, ESPN is calculating this financially. I don't know what their tipping point is. They're the worldwide leader, so maybe it's bigger than we think.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm tired of? I'm going to tell you what I'm tired of. I should do a segment, what I'm tired of. I'm tired of everybody in politics and other places just looking at us and lying. I can't stand it anymore. Everything is gaslit. I got Gavin Newsom looking at us lying, telling us how he doesn't like politicians that lie. His wife, who did all these things, Harvey Weinstein, allegedly, whatever, and she's telling us Donald Trump is not the kind of person. The nonsense, the gaslight, it's got me crazy. It has me crazier than normal, Michele.
I'm right there with you. And I think that, honestly, I think that might be why a guy like Mamdani is about to win the mayorship of the biggest city in America, because he didn't necessarily focus on that stuff, although it doesn't take long to dig deep and find all of the communistic, anti-Semitic, terrorist-supporting verbiage that comes out of the guy's mouth. That scares the crap out of me. But people want to hear about the issues. But yes, Gavin Newsom, first of all, what is it with the hands? There's this thing that he's constantly doing, and then this, and it's weird. It's like he's not a blood relative of Nancy Pelosi, but they're related by marriage, and they both, she uses her hand like this all the time. And it's bizarre. It just, you don't even have to have the sound on and just watch him do it. And you're like, Joe, get off of my screen, But yeah, for him to sit there in front of a camera and say, I can't stand politicians who lie, is one of the richest things I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I kind of would love for him to run for president, because I think he has absolutely no shot, and I think his grease would just drip on all of America, and we'd all be showering.
I'm going to go back to Mamdani. Why do you think? I mean, people say his message resonates. Like with who? I don't know. Do people? Are we? My sister-in-law, who's very liberal, said to my wife, who's very conservative, I'm going to read what you're reading and you read what I'm reading. And I thought that was interesting, because we all have the algorithms that go to wherever. Am I just reading too much? Like, there's not a chance in hell I would vote for that guy, but some seemingly reasonable people are. What are we missing here? Is there anything we're missing here on this guy?
Well, we're missing. I mean, people who are willing to vote for him don't really see what they're voting for. They're hearing free childcare. They're hearing tax the rich. They're hearing government-run grocery stores. They're hearing free buses. But they don't go the second step. And most people don't do second-level thinking and say, well, okay, if we're going to have free childcare, how's that going to get paid for? They just think that the government has this ability to do things without paying for it and without taxing people in order to pay for it. I don't know. We need to teach civics in this country better, because people seem to think that the government can just magically create stuff and funds, but they don't realize, no, they're taking it from you, and you're going to lose a bunch of people. There are people already scattering to New Jersey, to Connecticut, to Florida, to wherever, just getting the hell out of Dodge. And businesses will likely move too if he's successful with what he wants to do. And they don't, the average voter here's free, and they don't do the second level thinking of what might the ramifications be. For instance, if you have free buses, that means anyone can just walk on a bus and sit there all day long. That means you're going to have potentially homeless people, drug addicts, just floating around on buses 24/7, because you know why? Because it's warmer than sitting on the street. Rather than dealing with the homeless issue, now they're opening up this avenue for people to just game the system. But people aren't thinking that second level thinking. They see his smile. They see him eating rice with his hands. They think he's inclusive. And they don't realize he's a freaking anti-Semite. And I can't understand why anyone in New York could vote for this guy, but there are a lot of, I think, really young, desperate people in New York.
I saw this the other day. Social Security isn't going away. They've just been stealing it from you. Mm-hmm. Like Doge found like 9 million illegal immigrants on Social Security. Hey, I'm getting to be that age. I want my damn money. What are we doing? Again,
It's this virtue signaling. Americans in general are pretty well off, so I'm going to ignore them. I'm going to look around at all the poor people coming in and declaring amnesty, and they're scared. And some of them, it's legit, but I think the vast majority are illegitimately here for fear of their own country. They're here for money. They're here for handouts. And they're here because we keep presenting these magnets to them. Oh, yeah, you can get a job. You can get free healthcare. You can get all these things that you can't get in Mexico or Colombia or Venezuela. You can't. You can get it here. And guess who, again, when you're inclusive of a bunch of people, guess who gets excluded? The American taxpayers, who now find themselves getting far less than their taxes promised they were going to get. Period.
Hey, Michele, you covered professional sports for a long time. You saw the whole thing with Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier. Everybody's telling me this is, just the tip of the iceberg. Are you buying this is the tip of the iceberg? Do you think more is coming, or is this going to be like the college basketball coaches thing 5-6 years ago where, they made a splash, but nothing else came out of it? Where do you think this is headed?
It's hard for me to think that, especially with these prop bets, that nothing else is going to come out of this. These are so easy to finagle, right? You know that, particularly in the NBA. Absolutely. You're supposed to have 20 points. You're sitting at 19. You're watching the clock. You pass the ball. You don't shoot again. I mean, it's pretty easy, and you can tell your select few people. Now, in some cases, like with Terry Rozier, I guess in that 2023 game, they saw this sudden burst of activity around him and they went, what's going on there? So you can do it. I would imagine it's being done at a much higher scale than we know. The poker stuff, I don't know, man. I have to think to myself, Chauncey, I covered Chauncey as a player. I covered him in 2000, from all his Timberwolves years, his Detroit Pistons years when he was finals MVP in 2004. I covered that series. I can't imagine what a Hall of Famer is putting himself in this position for. I have to, again, you got to do that second level thinking. Is he doing this out of greed? He's got plenty of money. Why would he put himself at that risk? Why would he associate himself with these people? So I'm very curious to find out what is behind all of that. And if he is the only one, it's hard to imagine that there's just one.
I've gone to Vegas a number of times, and I've never sat in a poker room. I like playing craps or whatever. But when I saw that technology, I thought to myself, wait a second here. If these guys are doing this in some basement, posh poker hotel room, how's Vegas not doing this kind of stuff? That was my first thought, like, Yeah. It was so fascinating. Cameras underneath, infrared
X-ray
contact
tables.
lenses, like – yes,
it's crazy. You have to sort of think. Of course, your mind goes there. Why wouldn't it? I mean, I guess you can get these X-ray tables online. You can just go buy them, which is just bizarre to me. Cheating is as old as time. People have done it. We're finding new ways to do it. And with technology and these contact lenses, I mean, this is like stuff out of movies, It's crazy to think that this actually gets organized by people and gets utilized in the real world. It's crazy to think about. But money is, as my dad once said, the root of all evil. I don't know if it's the root of all evil because money does a lot of good too, but it sure drives people to make some really crazy decisions.
Ooh. Dick Cheney, known good guy, bad guy. Thoughts? He just passed away.
Yeah, 84 years old. I think some of each. Yeah. I think everyone is probably some of each. Maybe not Mother Teresa. She was probably all good. But, look, controversial tenure under George W. Bush. Not particularly popular across all, people didn't say, oh, that Dick Cheney, what a lovely man. He wasn't that kind of guy. He sort of redefined the vice presidential position. I think he had a lot of influence and a lot of power in that W administration. But it's the passing of a man who was consequential nonetheless. And so at times like these, I just like to sort of pay respect and leave it at that, and then we can analyze his place in history at a later time.
You know what I liked? Tell you what I liked about him. I don't, whatever. But I liked his debate against Joe Lieberman, where two adult men sat at a table and just had a discussion.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, Al Gore put rouge on his face and tried to act like Ronald Reagan, or it was just like two dudes sitting at a table Had respect for one. I always liked that. I don't know enough about him and all that, but I thought that was pretty cool back in the day.
It was.
You know what I mean?
That seems far. That seems long ago and far away, doesn't it? I mean, listen. I think that J.D. Vance was about as civil as you can get. He wiped the floor with Tim Walz, but that was Tim Walz's own doing. So, but
Is
but
Walz
I
going
thought
to get reelected?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But you know what? Minnesota Republicans have a way of shooting themselves in the foot time and time again. Right now, what they should be doing, or at least starting January 1, is putting on a loop, how Tim Walz, all this billions of dollars in fraud, taxpayer fraud happened under Tim Walz again and again and again, and just make it so that he is so intolerable as a candidate that no matter who the Republican is, and we have some good candidates, don't get me wrong, we have some very strong candidates, no matter who that person is, they say, I can't vote for Tim Walz, I'm going to vote for the Republican.
Man, I hope so. I just, that's one guy that I've never met, don't want to meet. When I see him, I just don't like. I think he's one of those guys that can look at you in the face and believe his own bullshit.
Yeah.
I do. I think he's one of those
has
guys.
Made a living on, has made a career of that.
Yeah. What's going on? Michele Tafoya podcast. What's on next?
Well, every Wednesday we do Wild Card Wednesday, where we kind of zip around the internet and find some videos that you may not have seen, and we just show you some interesting stuff and talk about it. Interestingly, because I am here in Minnesota, I've interviewed. We just had one more entrant into the gubernatorial race, a woman named Lisa Demuth. She's the Speaker of the House in Minnesota. I've got to interview her, and then we will have all the candidates covered, and we're going to start rolling those out so people here in Minnesota can find out what we're dealing with on that side. Tim Walz won't agree to talk to me, so we can't.
I was going to ask.
Yeah,
that's what I was just going to ask. Like,
open invitation, but I guess he knows how I feel about him, so he won't. He doesn't trust that I'd be in sort of good faith ask him questions, but I would. So, Tim, if you're governor, if you want to come on, we'd love to have you.
He's probably drawing up the pick six. Thanks, Michele. Appreciate you. Thank you.
He runs a mean one.
Oh, man, what a douchebag. Anyway, appreciate you, Michele. There she goes, Michele Tafoya. Follow her, Michele_Tafoya on Twitter. Subscribe right now wherever you get all of your podcasts at the Michele Tafoya podcast. Our friend Sylvie of Waddle and Sylvie, America's greatest sports talk show, next. Afternoons in Chicago are a must-listen. AM 1000 WNVP. It's Waddle and Sylvie, the greatest radio show in the history of the world. Marc Silverman, a.k.a. Sylvie, joins us now from his throne. This is where he resides. I'm surprised he doesn't have a crown on, but the throne of Sylvie. Sylvie, Ben Johnson, a wild one. And you know what? The Bears made the Bengals start fighting each other and going crazy in the locker room. I'm a Caleb Williams fan, Sylvie. Am I wrong? I don't know.
No, you're not wrong. Look, he's not winning the race right now of the draft class, but he's showing signs of improvement. And I think what you hit at the top there, Dan, is the biggest thing, is that Ben Johnson. With Ben Johnson, I believe that Caleb Williams is going to develop. I love this coach. It's the first Bears coach I've truly loved. Year one of Matt Nagy was good, and I was on board with him. And then we just started to see his playbook and the bad decisions after Vic Fangio left to be a head coach. But Ben Johnson's the real deal. And I don't know how great Caleb eventually is going to be, but I think the floor is pretty damn high.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to watch him nearly as much as you have, but I've watched him enough to know that if he works at it like, professional athletes should work at it, he certainly has every bit of talent. And the combination with Johnson as an offensive guy, I don't know what more you could want. Colson Loveland, he shut a lot of people up here in Indy, by the way. I just want you to know.
Yeah. Waddle this was a very big debate too for us because we had heard rumors that the Bears were into tight ends, and everyone kept saying Tyler Warren, and Waddle kept saying, look, Colston Loveland plays this position of the tight end that fits Ben Johnson's scheme the best. So Warren's a great player. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's nothing any Indy fan who wants to love what Warren's doing, I think, is valid. But I think they can both be great players. They just do it in a little bit of a different fashion as far as the way they play the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? I mean, one size does not fit all. You got to get the guy that you feel fits yours. And if somebody's doing something elsewhere, then so be it, right? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and like a lot of the I kept saying, and this weaves it back to Caleb, where, Caleb holds the keys to unlocking some of these players, the young players that they got. So whether Colston Loveland was, not living up to what a lot of people thought he would be, well, the quarterback wasn't finding him either. The Bears have a lot of players, skill guys. It's weird to say it, Dan, with Roma Dunze, with DJ Moore. They drafted Luther Burden out of Missouri in the second round. A lot of people thought he'd be a first-round pick. You have Colston Loveland. So you have options, and it's not like Caleb's been great at getting the ball around to everyone. It's one of the areas there are a couple areas that Caleb still needs to improve, his accuracy and sometimes his eye accuracy, where he doesn't find guys who are open. Instead of trying to make the real difficult play, take the 6 or 7 yards and the guy who's open and live for the next down.
Hey, Sylvie, weird week in the NFC North. I mean, I'm looking around, and the Bears had a hell of a game. All of a sudden, J.J. McCarthy becomes Superman, and inexplicably, the Packers get beat at home by the Panthers. How good's the North?
I think it's really good. I don't know if there's a great team. Like, I thought Detroit was still going to be great after their slow start against the Packers, and then I thought they were going to be coming into their own. This week surprised me with the Vikings. It shocked me with the Packers. The Packers are the most, and I'm not saying this as like a scorned Bears fan. I have a real good friend who's a Packer fan, and they're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't understand them. 2 games ago, I forget who they played, but they had a really slow first half, and then they turned it on in the second half. And I'm like, okay, the Packers are here now. And then sure enough, in this game against Carolina, they really never arrived. So, look, I think if you go back, Dan, and you go to some of our conversations we've had in past years, the November conversations look dated by the time January comes around. So there's still plenty of time for the Packers in Detroit to be great. But I think it's a very well-rounded division. And I think the NFC West is like that as well.
Packers against the Steelers. Actually, it was the Aaron Rodgers game. I think it was like 16-7 or 17-6 or something like that. And then I'm watching Jordan Love, and I'm going, damn, is he good? You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, wow, did he turn it on? I got to ask you about our crew here in Indy. I pay attention to him. Daniel Jones struggles, and all we got is the media everywhere saying, see, we told you. How many games does it take to get a guy to change a reputation? God dang, they're 7-2. He had a bad game. All right. What are you thinking?
Well, you know how this is. It's the evolution of the hot take. So Danny Dimes can be really good early, and then people are going to move the goalposts, and they're going to say, well, can he be really good late or after his first loss or when he turns the ball over and has a game like he had, like a lot of quarterbacks have, like I think most quarterbacks have. I mean, look at what Mahomes did this week against Buffalo. Yeah. He was not efficient. Guys are going to have bad games. And then when Danny Dimes does respond here after this game, they're going to say, well, what can he do in the playoffs? And then if he wins a playoff game like he's won one before, well, can he win the big game? Like, people are still doing it with Josh Allen. People are still doing it with Lamar Jackson. It's just a matter of where you want to put it. So, I think it's a great story. I think it's one of the best stories in the NFL. We were just talking about the weapons. Like, you talk about lots of different ways to get you on offense. The Colts have lots of different ways to get you on offense. And I think it will be interesting to see how they respond. This past weekend was the first week I was on them. It was one of my best plays, and I absolutely got crushed. But I won't hot take you in saying because I lost a bet or something that they can't do shit this year. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm on them every week, and it's been good. I mean, hell, they almost hit the over 50.5 if they didn't turn it over one last time. Is this, you mentioned, Sylvie, you mentioned the Bills. You also mentioned November discussions get basically obsolete by January. Is this the year for the Bills to finally usurp the Chiefs? I
hope so. I have in the other room. I should do a wardrobe change. I've got a Chicago Bills hat. It's the Bills logo with the Chicago flag stars on them. I went and I did an appearance at a bar right across the street from Wrigley called Rizzo's. And like, there's a huge contingent of Buffalo fans here. I love that team. If I would adopt an AFC team, I would adopt the Buffalo Bills. I find their fan base has a lot in common with my Cubs fan base, where they have found every way to break your heart. And every time you believe, Cubs finally broke through in 2016. And I'm hoping one of these years that the Bills break through. I love Josh Allen. I love him. I love him as a quarterback. I love what he does for kids. And I hope this is the year that they break through.
No Imanaga, speaking of the Cubs. Everybody rejected each other, huh? Got to find another starter? That's all right, right? We're good with that, aren't we?
It is. Like, this has been one of the big arguments that I've had with my buddies about Imanaga, and they're going to end up being proven right. I like Shota, and I believe he got really screwed up at the end of the year. But for the first year and a half in Chicago, the Cubs won as many games when Shota pitched as any other starting pitcher in baseball. I'm not talking about the win category where the pitcher goes 5 innings and they're winning and then they end up winning the game and he gets the win. I'm talking about actual wins that the Cubs win a game that Shota Imanaga starts. He was really good. I don't know what happened late. I heard a lot of things were wrong with him mechanically. So I'm sad to see him go, but I did like what he brought to Chicago these last couple of years.
Speaking of Chicago, your Bulls 5-1, big boy.
Yeah. And look, they're a fun team right now. You asked me off the air, am I still boycotting? And like a lot of people, when I tweet about the Bulls or I'm watching the Bulls, they say to me, well, is the boycott over? The boycott is only about going to games. And yesterday, I got a text from a guy I think you'll know, but I'll hide his name. He represents many, many, many head coaches in college basketball. He's a friend of mine. He lives in my community. He's a big-time guy, and he texted me yesterday saying, hey, I'm out of town. Do you want my 2 tickets on the floor for tonight against the 76ers? And I said, I'd love it, but I'm continuing my boycott. While I like the players, like Josh Giddey's a good story. Modest is my guy. Modest is going to be the most improved player in the NBA this year. They've got some younger players. They've got an owner and they've got a vice president of basketball operations who don't want to try. And if they're not going to try, why should I try to go to games? So, last year they made it easy. Their television network was not available to me. It wasn't on Xfinity. This year it is. So I watch games. Look, my family was they were an inaugural season ticket holder for the Bulls. So this is not a Johnny-come-lately, hey, I'm spoiled by Michael. I was going to games in the 70s when they sucked. And I just want them. I'm not asking for them to win a title. I'm asking them to try to be a great team. And they are completely always stuck in the middle.
When will the boycott, what will make the boycott end?
If I see them try, if I see them maneuver, if I see them, like Vooch is a guy who's a nice player, but has no business being on a team that's young and growing, and you could have gotten an asset for him a couple of years ago. I'm looking for them to get out of the middle. I'm tired, Dan, of getting to 40 so they could be in the play-in game, win one play-in game, and lose the second play-in game. Like at least when the Pacers did that a couple of years ago, they continued to advance, and they got to the NBA Finals. This team has not made any big moves, Halliburton was available for them 4 or 5 years ago. Instead, they elected to take Patrick Williams, and they were in on a Halliburton. Patrick Williams, not only did they draft Patrick Williams and he's been a bust, they doubled down and they gave him $90 million in a free agent deal. He's terrible, Dan. Moves like that are the reason why my boycott continues.
Patrick Williams wasn't great at Florida State. And I remember he was like an internet/combine guy that all of a sudden, the Bulls take. And I'm like, man, production sometimes is production. Tell Waddle hello, man.
Yeah, real quick, like what you just said is like my mantra. I am so sick of guys being drafted for traits. Like too many times they ignore the actual production and they want to measure you with a race or with a ruler, and it's so dumb. If guys produce, and there's still not enough put into that. It's too much analytics and the other edge stuff.
Hey, last thing. What do you think of, I guess Michael Jordan's insight, to the NBA? It looks like it's just one interview chopped up.
Yeah.
I guess he's going to do more. What's your take so far?
So we invited, we had Tarico on the show. Tarico told us that it is, as of now, only that one interview. And look, it is what it is. I think, like, if you want it, it's there for you. He may be one of the more overpaid guys, depending on what he got to do this one interview. But I got to admit that I don't watch it live. Unless it's a game, I don't watch anything live anymore. So I'll catch it on social media, and I've enjoyed it. I truly have. But it's 3 minutes, so it is what it is.
It's amazing the reverence everybody continues to have for him. I think it's kind of cool.
Because he never talks.
Thanks.
Yeah, he never talks. You know what I mean? So
he's not on anything. No, that's right. That's exactly
great talking
right.
to you again. Yeah,
appreciate you, brother. There he goes. Yes, sir. He is our guy, Marc Silverman. Remember, coming up on Wednesday, we are going to do at 6:00. We're Eastern time. We're going to do a live YouTube chat where your questions will come and we will answer. We're going to have a chat going. So those of you that miss our chats, we'll have it for you. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/@don'tatme with Dan Dakich. And we're going to hang in there as long as we can. Woke-a-dope me, would you? Give me some woke-a-dope here. Come on. I need some woke-a-dope. Woke-a-dope. I love woke-a-dope. I'm sorry. Gavin Newsom on Lying Politicians. There's nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. It's unbelievable to me how, and this has got me really starting to get pissed off. People can just look at you and lie. Like these politicians can simply look at you and lie. Gavin Newsom's wife was alleged, the evidence shows, she was stooping Harvey Weinstein. And she's giving us lectures on Donald Trump. It's all crazy to me. Next. It's crazy. It's insanity. It's crazy. It's nuts. I don't know what to make. When you take the country downhill so fast, they put you on the ski team. Man, I'm so glad we don't have to watch these lying thieves anymore. Next! He told me he was a Democrat. I asked if I could borrow a tampon. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, if you're a Democrat male, but you got to borrow a tampon. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brooke. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Davey. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, everybody associated with our show. We'll see you again tomorrow.